December 11th, 1978. It was 3 o'clock in the morning at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York. The winter air was cold and most of the city was asleep. Cargo buildings stood quiet under dim lights. Security guards expected nothing unusual. But inside one of those buildings, the Lufthansa cargo terminal, millions of dollars were sitting in a vault. Cash that had just arrived from Germany. Money that was supposed to be flown back overseas. And someone knew exactly where it was. That someone was Louis Werner. Werner worked inside the terminal. He wasn't a powerful man. He wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was simply an employee with a gambling problem. And gambling debts in New York during the 1970s could be dangerous. Werner owed money to local bookmakers connected to organized crime. He couldn't pay it back. He was desperate. So he told them something valuable. He told them that large amounts of untraceable cash were regularly stored inside the Lufthansa cargo building before being shipped. Millions of dollars. Easy to access, light security, limited cameras. It was information that could change someone's life. And it reached the ears of a man named Jimmy Burke. Jimmy Burke wasn't just another criminal. He was calm, strategic, patient. He had connections to powerful crime families and a reputation for planning carefully. When Burke heard about the cash, he didn't rush. He studied the building. He studied shift schedules. He studied how long money stayed inside the vault. He didn't want chaos. He didn't want attention. He wanted precision. For months, the crew prepared. They recruited trusted associates, drivers, lookouts, enforcers. Every person had a role. The plan was simple. Enter the building quietly, control the guards, open the vault, load the money, disappear. No shooting, no panic, no mistakes. On the night of December 11th, the plan began. A van pulled up near the Lufthansa cargo building just after 3 a.m. The men inside wore dark clothing and gloves. They moved quickly but calmly. Inside, they found the night security guard. He was shocked but compliant. They tied him up and reassured him they wouldn't hurt him if he cooperated. Then they waited for the supervisors who had access to the vault. When the supervisors arrived, they were also restrained. One of the robbers calmly told them, "Just open the vault and nobody gets hurt." There was no screaming, no gunfire, just quiet control. The vault door opened. Inside were stacks of cash wrapped in plastic, over $5 million in American currency, and nearly $1 million in jewelry. At the time, it was one of the largest cash robberies ever committed in the United States. The men worked efficiently. They loaded the money into the van. The entire operation lasted about 90 minutes. Before leaving, they warned the employees not to call the police for at least 15 minutes. Then they drove away into the dark New York morning. At first, it looked perfect. No alarms triggered in time. No witnesses outside. No injuries. But criminals often make mistakes after success. And the first mistake happened quickly. One of the getaway vehicles used during the robbery was parked illegally and later abandoned. Police found it. Inside, they discovered fingerprints. It wasn't enough to solve the case immediately, but it gave investigators a starting point. When the news broke, the FBI became involved. Millions of dollars stolen from an international airline at JFK Airport was not a small crime. This was federal. Agents began questioning employees. They examined financial records. They looked for anyone with gambling problems or suspicious debts. Eventually, attention turned toward Louis Werner. Under pressure, investigators discovered his connection to known criminals. But that wasn't the real problem for the crew. The real problem was greed. After the robbery, some members of the team couldn't stay quiet. They began spending money openly. Luxury cars, expensive fur coats, lavish gifts. In the world of organized crime, showing sudden wealth is dangerous. It brings attention from law enforcement. But even worse, it creates jealousy inside the crew. Jimmy Burke began to worry. He feared someone might talk. He feared someone might get arrested and cooperate with authorities. And in organized crime, There is one way to prevent someone from talking: silence them permanently. Within months of the robbery, people connected to the heist began turning up dead. Some were found shot in cars, some disappeared and were never found. One was discovered in the trunk of a vehicle. The message was clear: loose ends were being eliminated. The money that was supposed to bring freedom now brought paranoia. The FBI noticed something unusual. Witnesses were harder to find. Potential suspects were dying before they could testify. The investigation slowed. No one was willing to cooperate. Fear controlled everything. Over time, authorities arrested some individuals for related crimes, but the majority of the stolen money was never recovered. It vanished, believed to have been hidden, spent, or lost within criminal networks. Jimmy Burke himself was eventually arrested, but not directly for the Lufthansa robbery. He was convicted for unrelated crimes and sentenced to prison. He died behind bars in 1996. Louis Werner, the insider, was eventually convicted for his role in the robbery and served time. But the full story of the stolen millions remains incomplete. Some believe portions of the money are still hidden somewhere. Others believe it was divided and quietly spent long ago. The Lufthansa heist became legendary. It inspired scenes in the film Goodfellas. It became a symbol of both criminal precision and criminal paranoia, because the robbery itself was nearly perfect, carefully timed, carefully executed, minimal violence, maximum profit. But the aftermath showed the truth about organized crime. Success breeds fear, and fear breeds betrayal. Nearly everyone closely connected to the robbery either went to prison or died. The airport continued operating. Planes continued landing. Passengers never knew how close they were to one of the largest robberies in American history. Today, the Lufthansa heist is remembered not just for the money stolen, but for what followed: a silent wave of murders, a trail of disappearances, and millions of dollars that were never seen again. It remains one of the most infamous heists in US history, a crime that was executed with precision and destroyed by paranoia.